Okay, here's part two. Part two is setting chambers, all right? So you got to remember in setting chambers that you keep the chambers nice and level, and that you do it towards the drawing that you're given by the county or state. All right, these chambers are 3-foot chambers. That means a chamber covers 3 foot of area in a run, and you have what they call end caps. And I'm going to show you right now what they look like in a run situation. In the video you'll see me laying the chambers in place and us filling in around them and then checking them out and making sure that each chamber is set exactly the way it needs to be. The chambers can't do this. The chambers have to be nice and level. The inspector, you know, they'll come out and they see a chamber doing this, they're gonna make you pull it all. Let me tell you, you don't want to pull it all. That would be just a terrible job to have to pull. With me doing this for so long, you know, putting septic systems in isn't really that hard. It's actually, it's pretty fun. I kind of enjoy putting it in. Another thing I want you to know too is that each one of those chambers that are in there are half chambers. So, you know, some states will make you put in a round chamber and they'll have you run it all the way across, which is a little bit easier, but the only problem with that is that you have to put a fill of gravel down, put the chamber on top, then you got to pack gravel halfway up it, and then you can expose it to dirt on top. The chambers here that we're using are called half chambers. These chambers are cut in half. They lay flat on the ground. They have a big oval part. I'll show you that. As a matter of fact, hang on one second. So this is a cutout from one of the chambers I did, okay? Now, because this chamber is not breaking off into sections as you go down the hill, it's one continuous run. You'll take an end chamber and you'll cut the one side off right here, all the way around. That way, you can attach your next chamber to that. That's if you're running a straight line. These are end chambers. These are the ends to the chambers, and I had to cut this one out for them. They're plastic. That's a little bit higher than that would be the height that this sits on the ground. This right here will actually lay flat on the ground. You set them down, next one, next one, next one, and they got a little locking mechanism that you use to go all the way down. Now here in Tennessee, they require you to either use a Schedule 40 inch or a Schedule 44 inch. You can use 45s or 90s to do your connections, and they do require you to have a T inside the septic system. So what you do is you'll have a T inside the septic system, and you're going to put a 2 foot of 3 inch or 4 inch pipe down. So when the water transfers, it goes down into that pipe and goes to the bottom of the septic system. Now, as you're running out, you can use 45s or 22s. I wouldn't suggest really using 90s unless they're a long sweep 90. Always remember this. Whenever you put a vertical or a constant 90, which is a tight bend 90 in a septic system or any kind of plumbing, you're bound to have some problems. And the problems being is clogging. The poop's got to go somewhere. If you got a sharp 90 on there, that poop's going to get stuck right there at an angle, and it's going to become a problem, and a consistent problem for you. I learned that doing plumbing a long time ago, that a long sweep is better than using a tight 90. So always remember, if you're going to be playing with poop, use a long sweep 90, because then it can just kind of flow on through. I like that one. So we're going to get showing you. I'm going to show you the end part of the chambers that we did. I'll tell you what, it was some work. It took us about 8 hours to install this system, and then I'll go and show you some other stuff and give you an idea of what you're going to get into or what you're going to have to get into. Alright guys, so we're going to walk down here and I'm going to show you a long shot of the chambers. You'll see this on the video as we were installing the chambers and stuff and making sure. I have to look around. We have disturbed the dirt over here, so I kind of have to be vigilant about looking for any snakes or rattlesnakes at that point. Alright, nothing fell in there. Nope. Alright, so these are the chambers right here. You can see how it goes all the way down. You kind of get an idea. Now again, these are 3-foot chambers. Those are the end caps for the chambers right there. Now you can see I don't hold my hand straight. Those are the end cap chambers. Then you have the chambers. Every chamber is 3 foot all the way down. All right. So as you get down to the split chamber, which is the chamber that splits off the way that the state and county wanted us to do it, which is the end cut that you saw me take off. I'll show you how we got that piped in there. It's a lot of work doing this, believe it or not. You know, it may look easy, but it's not easy. All right, so I'm gonna come up here. I gotta watch where I'm walking, guys. All right, so you guys are able to see the chambers. They come all the way down, go all the way over to where the tree's at. Now that's our connecting chamber right there that runs up into our septic tank. That'll run down and run right into those chambers, and it'll spread out through that chamber. Now, you have to make sure that there is a slight gradual fall on both sides, so that way the water runs down and over. We had some rain last night, and I'll tell you, we did have some rain. I can tell. But you'll see that goes into the septic system. Then come up here and all right, so you see how we have our runs done. You see how the septic system is. You're definitely going to need a backhoe to do this. That tank, if you're wondering the size of that tank is 5 foot wide, 9 foot long, holds 1,000 gallons. It's concrete. You can use a plastic tank. I wouldn't suggest it. Plastic tanks have been known to have a lot of problems, but you know, do what you want to do with that. If you do have a plastic tank, just always remember, eventually it's not gonna do what you want it to do. I hate to say that too, but it's not the same as putting in a concrete tank. Little tidbits of ideas of stuff to tell you guys to do with your septic system is: one, buy a thinner quality of toilet paper. If it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, let it mellow. Try to take care of your septic tank. Don't be dropping a lot of chemicals in there, because you're going to have a lot of problems with that chemicals, because what happens, some of those chemicals they have out there will actually eat away the concrete on the tank, believe it or not, and which isn't good. The bad thing about plastic tanks is some of the chemicals that you use when you're doing that actually will leach out into your soil. So you have to be careful. I mean, it's got its pros and cons on everything that you do with a septic system. Now today, I am waiting for the inspector to come to pass our inspection. And as soon as he passes an inspection, we'll get this thing filled in and we will be done. And I can't wait, because boy, that'll be step one of having mom and dad out here, which will be great. If you guys have any questions, you know, put it in the comments below. I'll be glad to answer. The depth of the chambers have to be 2 foot. Cannot go exceedingly 32, anything over 32 inches. It will not pass inspection. Let's see what else. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's, you know, if you're going to shoot your grade, let's go to that right now. We're going to talk about shooting a grade. All right. So the first grade you're going to shoot is you're going to put your laser up on top, and you're going to go down in the first hole that you dig. You want to measure it at 2 foot. You're going to take that, your stick, which has your numbers on it and everything, and your sensor that's going to go off and tell you when you're dead level. You're going to want to go down in that hole, hook that sensor up, and you're going to want to hold that, keep it on the ground, and you're going to move that sensor up that bar until you hear it go off and it's steady level. And it'll make kind of, you know, you hear a beep, beep, and then you'll hear a consistent beep, which will be beep. That'll tell you that you're spot on. So that's the first thing you're going to do as you're digging out your trench for your septic system. The second thing you're going to do after your septic system is done is you're going to find your starting point of your chambers. Now you're going to lay your chamber down in that starting point, and you're going to use that same piece of equipment, that bar or stick or whatever that has your measurements on it, and you're going to want to take that and you're going to want to put it up on top of your chamber. So find the highest point on your chamber, which will be one of the ribs. You're going to set that down there, and you're going to move and adjust until you hear that same noise again, that beeping sound, and then that solid beep. When you hit that solid beep, that means your chamber's in there correctly. Now you have to do this for every single chamber, and you have to do it for every movement that you make in your 2 foot area of drop. So as you start digging the hole out, you're going to want to step at least. I do a wide step, like a long step for me, and I'll set it, and I'll do another long step, and I'll set it, and I'll make sure everything's right. Now, if it's not right, you can always go back through like we do, and we'll take a rake, and we'll rake it, and we'll take a shovel, and we'll flatten it out. We're pretty spot on when we do this. I've done enough of them that, you know, you can kind of tell when you're going to have a problem or when it's low or it's high. Now, if you get down there and you're having a problem with the chambers on the sides where it's like, you know, it seems like it's a little high, you can always dig out some dirt from underneath the chamber to get it to level off. Just make sure that you use that bar with that sensor on the top of it to notify you that you were spot on. You want to do that all the way down to the very last chamber. You do not want to forget this move. This move is vitally important for you to get your septic system set up correctly. Now, as far as the pipe's concerned, when you run the pipe into the end cap, which would be the mid, which is what we did when we cut ours off, you have to run it through there. Do not put a 90 on the end. Do not do anything. Just run that pipe straight through. They give you you can't really see it on this one. I wish I would have taken a picture of it before we put this stuff in. But they give you, well, they give you kind of a cutout like this. I'll kind of show you. All right. So this top piece right here, this would actually be circled. This would be your cutout for your pipe to go through right here. Not this one up top. That's what you use to slide your pipe through. Now you don't want to put any 90s on it. You want to put like a 22. I prefer 45 if you can get away with it, or, you know, 145. Try not to put a lot of fittings in there. The more fittings you have, the more reason you have for clogs or problems. I would definitely put a clean out on the outside of the septic tank that's going to the house, and I would also put a clean out at the end of the run that's going to be hooked up. So what you do is you'll have a piece of pipe come out like this, right? And you'll have a T there, and at the end of that T, put a clean out there. Trust me, it'll be the best thing you ever did. Because in that way, if the system's ever really clogged up bad, you can take that T off. Now, unfortunately, that stuff's going to come roaring out of there, so kind of be careful when you're doing it when you pull that off. That's a line of defense right there that'll empty out the whole system. Now the second one I would do is the one by the septic tank, because a lot of times what will happen is it'll get clogged right before the septic tank. Unfortunately, it just, maybe a piece of toilet paper gets stuck there and it keeps building up. If you put a clean out there, that'd be the first place I'd check, would be that area right there. I don't know why, but it seems to happen. Don't be flushing down no female things. That is a bad thing for a septic system, a really bad thing for a septic system. You need to throw those away, wrap them up, throw them away, and put them in the trash. I have seen some horrifying situations like that that have scarred me for life. If you don't believe me, you can ask my wife and kids. So, at that point, guys, right now I'm waiting on the inspector. As soon as the inspector comes, we're going to get this all filled in, and we should be done. So stage one of Mom and Dad's is almost done. We just got to pass the inspection. I don't see a problem with it. And I'm hoping he'll be here this morning, because I'm out here right now basically just waiting on him to show up. So we can get into that bad boy. You guys can see it. We can get into that bad boy and get that filled in, and we'll be good to go. So, hold on to your pants, waiting for the inspector. Now that's a Case 580 Cooper K, in case you're all wondering. definitely a little muddy out here after the rain last night. Woo! Super K 580.